Hello everyone. In the previous video, we finished installing the JDK and IDE environment, and we also see how to add a static homepage into the application. It's not beautiful, but we can beautify it when it's time for us to introduce those front-end tools and the libraries we can use. In this video, we will first demo how to install an external application server. Here will be the Tomcat, and also how to run our web application in this Tomcat application server. After that, we will build some functionalities using Spring MVC to finish a very simple registration UI. So in this video, we will try to make everything simple. To just the main purpose is for demo how things are working in using Spring Boot's Spring framework and all the related technologies. For the Spring MVC, you may already know that M stands for model, V stands for view, and C stands for controller. And the controller will mainly handling those business logics. Okay, let's start. Okay, let's download Tomcat first. From here, you can see the latest version is Tomcat 9. Let's find the right package for the operating system. Now it's finished downloading. Here is the Tomcat, downloaded Tomcat. Tomcat doesn't need to be installed. It's a zip file. We can just unzip it. That'll be good enough. Okay, let's take it to the download folder. Now, okay. Now Tomcat is here. It's ready to use. Now let's set up the Tomcat, the external Tomcat in our IDE environment, and then we can use it. Here in the servers view, we can add a new server. Add a new server. Let's say Apache. We can find Tomcat 9. This is the version we downloaded. We can take the default settings. Next. And here we can find the download Tomcat folder. OK. We can use the JDK we installed yesterday. Next. Here the CMS is the project we created in the previous video. Let's add to this server, and it will be deployed into this Tomcat server. Now you can see the Tomcat server is set up here. If you double click, you can see the configuration for the Tomcat server. Here is the configuration. The port will be 8080, and our application, the CMS application, will be deployed in this context /CMS. Okay, I think looks good. Now we can start this application to make sure it is still working. Here you can see we can debug the application, or we can just run application. Let's go debug. And in the console view, you can see Tomcat 90 server at the localhost is starting. You can see it's giving us some information about Spring. And for now, the application log is configured out of box from the Spring Boot's default configuration. In the future videos, we will set up some loggers. Then we can customize the logging configuration to better fit our requirement. Now you can see the application server is started successfully. Now let's try our little application. For now, we have only a welcome page. That will be localhost 8080. Remember, we have a context, which is CMS. See, this is the information comes from the welcome page. Now, let's start building the MVC functions into this application. So apparently, we need to build three things: M for model, V for view, and C for controller. Let's start from the model. To better organize the resource files, let's create a new package under the CMS. Let's call it model. Inside this new package, let's add a new class. Let's call it user. Let's temporarily stop the server to make things happen a little bit faster. For now, this is an empty class. Let's add some attribute for the class. Now we have three attributes: first name, last name, and email. Let's start from these three simple attributes just for the demo purpose. Okay. Now the model is ready. Model is actually just a Pojo class. It's very simple. Now let's create a new package under CMS. Let's call it a controller. And in this new package, let's create a new class. Let's call it a user controller. Okay. Now let's add the business logic for this user controller. Now I add some content for this user controller. You can see first what we need to do is we need to declare this class to be a controller. The next thing we need to do is we need to add a request mapping map to this URL. This is relative to the context. We will see it later. And the method we define as a get method. And this one is for if the user try to access this register URL, this method will be kicked in and return this string. And this string is actually used by the Spring MVC to find the view template. And we will see how to map this string with the real template very soon. Okay, next let's add another method to show the confirmation after the user submit their data. Okay, now you can see I added another method in this user controller, which will process the request for this URL, register submit. This URL will deal with a post request. And the parameter here we can see the first one is a model attribute for enroll, and this is a user object which contains all the user information. The second one is just a map, and this one we want to use it to send some data back to the confirmation page. For example, the user put in their first name and last name in the first page, which is the registration page. After they click the submit button, they will be redirected to the second page, will be the confirmation page, and on this confirmation page, we will show some information, customized information like dear blah blah, welcome or thanks for the registration. And in the first method, you will see the parameter is a user object, and this object will be used will be bind to the form on the first UI. So these two methods are in the controller, which is dealing with the business logic. For now, we are not doing anything in these controllers. The first one just return the user form UI. The second one just show the confirmation information. We are not saving anything for now. We will save the user information in the future videos. We will enhance this one in the future. Now we have the model class. We also have the controller class. Next step, we will create two templates for the UI. One is for the registration page. The other one is the registration confirmation page. Okay. From here, you can see in the source main folder, we have web app folder. And inside here, I create a folder called web inf. And inside web inf, I have a JSPS folder. And inside the JSPS folder, I have two JSP files. One is register. See here, we need to pay attention to the name. The naming is a register. This one need to match this register in the controller class. The second JSP file is called register-confirm JSP, and this name need to match with register-confirm in the second method in the controller class. Now we need to link these two JSP files with this controller class. In Spring Boot application, we have a configuration file called application.properties file. Let's open it, and we can use two configurations. One is spring.mvc.view.prefix. This will be webinf/JSPS. This path is here in the source main web app. We have webinf and the JSPS folder. And the MVC view suffix will be .jsp. And here we have two JSP files. In controller class, we do not need to give the full name. We just need to give the file name before the .jsp. Now Spring Boot and the Spring Framework knows how to find the template from this controller return string. Okay. So now we have inside these JSP files. Let's have a look at the content. The register.jsp. It's a very simple HTML file with a form inside. The form is using post method, and the action is register.submit. This action need to match the controller class. Here, see the request mapping is a register submit. Once they matched, Spring Framework will know using this method to process the post request. And in this JSP file, we have first name input field, last name input field, and the email address input field. After that, there is a submit button. Okay, so in here, in the confirmation page, we have dear, first name, last name, and these two are placeholders. This information will come back from the user controller as well. And in the user controller, you can see for this method, we put first name and last name into the model as attributes, and the data comes from the enroll object. This is the model object. It contains all the data posted by the user from the registration page. Now we can start testing our application to see if everything works. Let's start Tomcat. It's running. Okay, Tomcat started. Now let's go to this browser. We know CMS is context. We will add register at the end. So this register request, URL request, will be mapped to this user controller here. And then Spring Framework knows using this method to process request, returning the register UI. Then the UI user will be able to see something on the UI. Let's try it. Good. You can see we have a first name field, last name field, and the email address. Let's put anything here. Let's say A, B, C, and the last name as 1, 2, 3. And the email address, for now, we do not have any logic to process email address. We can leave it empty. Now let's submit and continue. Nice. You see, dear ABC123, thanks for registering with us. Have a wonderful day. So this is coming from the register confirmation JSP file. See, everything works now. And this is what we want to see for today's video. We have installed the external Tomcat in the IDE environment. We started the Tomcat and we run our application. We also added one model class, one controller class, and 2 view templates to finish demo these little registration and confirmation UI flows. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks a lot. See you in the next video.